Hello and welcome to the Sky Fantasy Football Podcast, live by Fantasy Football Hub. We'll be looking forward to Sky Gameweek 29. My name is Andrew and I'm joined as usual by former Sky winner Dan Cox. Dan, have you had a good Sky weekend so far?
Um, before the Arsenal Everton game, mate, I was going to try to get out of tonight. To be honest, not got in the head, but as
Bit
that
of a
was all right.
nightmare, was
Yes,
it?
yeah, it's been all right, mate. That was that game saved my game week. So yeah, I've done okay. Yeah.
Okay, and we're also joined by multi-topped place finisher Paul McAnulty. Paul, did you have any good points this weekend?
Similar to Dan, it wasn't going too great, and then I had the Bama captain, so it's worked out fine.
Oh, good. Oh, well done. I've had a bit of a nightmare again. I just can't seem to hit anything this season. I captained Ings yesterday. Apparently, Southampton had some like 27 shots yesterday, and Ings couldn't even get shooting bonus. Jimenez today, so not too bad. But I was looking at Jota, and I bottled it. Yeah, and all the picks we've talked about over the last kind of month or so, we've mentioned Jota, we've mentioned Bruno Fernandes, touched on Doherty last week. All these players that haven't brought them in, and they all bang. But congratulations, guys, on your Aubameyang hits. Hello in the chat. We've got Kian McKenna. Evening lads, sitting 50th in the world. Jota's done the business for me today. Shame didn't captain him. Amazing, Kian. Really, really well played. FPL Heskimo, how's it going? All right. Nice to finally make it to one of these live. Absolutely, it's great to have you on, Heskimo. It'd be good to see where you are actually now that the points have updated. Hornet FPL, on as usual, one of our podcast stalwarts. Hi there, Hornet. Andrew Lee, pretty decent day. Captained Fernandes in one team and Orba in the other. Had Jimenez in both teams as well. That's a really good day for you, Andrew. Fair play. Hornets had Jota captain his second team, always the same as Andrew Lee says. And Hornet says Fernandes looks fantasy gold. Absolutely, looks really, really good. And Ian Parrin's on as well. So welcome everyone. Thanks for coming on and joining us. So what we're going to look at for today's live podcast, we're going to do a review of the weekend's action. We're going to look at some of the emerging picks for the next few game weeks. We've probably mentioned a couple of them. It'd be really good, guys, in the chat. If you guys have got anyone who you've got your eye on for the coming game weeks, please feel free to share as well. We will share our transfer and captain plans for the next game week. We will answer some Twitter questions and some live questions. We've got a new feature called the confessional, which I really like the sound of actually. It's where we can share all our Sky FF sins, so all the things we did, all the things we didn't do, etc. And then we've got Dan's increasingly popular weekly rant. So firstly then, the review of the weekend's action. Paul, was it Paul we were going to do yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you able to do yesterday, Paul? Just a quick review of what happened.
Sure. So early game, Chelsea 2, Spurs 1. I think most of the own players would have been from Chelsea there. So 162 of the top 1,000 owned Abraham still. Returned 1 point coming on for Giroud. Mount, 190 of the top 1K, returned 2 points. And Reece James only returned 2 points as well, but noticed yesterday he was on corners, had a couple of shots, 2 successful tackles. I don't think it's going to be too long until we see him get some decent returns in some games. Sheffield United Brighton, I guess the majority of interested parties would have been in the Sheffield United defence there. Baldock and over 50% of the teams only returned 2 points, similar to Henderson. In the Stevens, 5% owned, top 1,000, returned 9. O'Connell returned 5. He got picked up man of the match, so got the extra 3 points there. And Dan Burns started the game for Brighton, so 4.6 million. He's in 2% of the top 1,000 teams.
He only returned started 2 points. Paul, does he?
Yeah, he started the last 2 now as well.
Oh, right, I didn't realise that. Blimey, there we go.
So if people are making a couple of moves and they're looking at rearrange budget, might be want to keep an eye on there. Southampton 2, Villa 0. As you mentioned, Ings already only returned 2 points. Grealish only returned 1. I guess those that went and invested in Southampton defenders, knowing that their fixtures were good, McCarthy, Stevens, those would be the benefactories there. Someone I've been keeping my eye on, Stuart Armstrong, played for Celtic, he's played for Southampton now. I think you mentioned him on one of the previous pods as well. He's only 7.4 million. Only in one team in the top 1,000 returned 9 points. There was a start for Smallbone, Irish lad, for Southampton as well. I think he's a defensive midfielder, but we've talked about there not being many options in midfield and looking to bolster elsewhere. So he's only 5 million if people are looking to rearrange teams that way as well. Burnley 3, Bournemouth 0. I guess Pope would have been one of the main contenders for ownership there. So 11 points he returned. McNeil returned 16 points. I know he's one of Dan's favourites. Palace 1, Newcastle 0. Van Aanholt with a 17-point return. Dubravka again doing it for those that took the punt on the Newcastle goalkeeper, again got tier 2 saves, sorry. And most of the own players had been in the Leicester Man City game, where I guess it was a day for the goalkeepers. Schmeichel returning 10, Ederson 11. The only other really standout was Mahrez with 8. Pereira picked up tackles again for those interested. So yeah, it's a medium-sized roundup of yesterday's games. I guess
that was very, very comprehensive, Paul. Dan's got a job to beat that now. Just to say hello in the chat, Adzi Bear. So he jumped today from 2064 to 854. So he had Fernandez captain and had Jota as well. Really well done, Adzi. That's a really nice jump there. And Lee Giles on as well. We've got some really good players today in the chat. Some really good experienced guys. Dan, can you do a similar sized summary of today as Paul's brilliant one there?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it quick, mate. So there's quite a lot on today, weren't there? So starting with the Wolves, Jota, 8.3 million, 19 points today. He was only in 0.5% of the top 1,000, so his 2 goals, assists, shot bonus, man of the match, monster day. And like I say, just in 5 of the top 1,000 teams is pretty mad at the start of the day. But I know a lot of people might have brought him in. I didn't consider him, to be honest, because I've had him before and I don't know, should have known better actually after he got the hat-trick midweek, really. But Jota was the main one. If you brought him in, well done. And if you captained him, even better.
Yeah, definitely.
Traore, again, didn't start. He's in 54% of the top 1,000 teams. Like, that's annoying. Picked the wrong midfielder there, haven't we? Well, most of us have. Jimenez, again, he's 16.9% of teams. Disappointing really with the goal. He got booked as well. Was hoping for more. And then he's been more talked about in FPL than Sky, I feel. But Doherty, he was only in 1% of the top 1,000 teams. He got 12 points, clean sheet, assist, tackle bonus in his last 3 games. Well, he got 12 today. In the last 2 before that, he got 7 points in each of those. So Wolves are looking pretty good at the minute. I did think Bowley and Cody might be on for a bit of bonus, but they didn't quite. Well, they weren't anywhere close, really. Fred, I know James Planet FPL. He talked about Fred, and he was giving me a bit of grief on the Monday, trying to take the piss out of me because he was looking on for bonus at half time, when because he had 2 tackles and he was on like 30 passes, but he only he got booked and didn't make either. So today I was quite relieved he went off 3 passes short of a tier 1 passing bonus, but he did get tackle bonus. And I know James said as well, but he's only once now not hit bonus since like the start of December. So he is quite he is doing all right. I don't know enough about Manchester United. Like, is he nailed in that team? With like McTominay, when's he due back? And is Pogba going to make an appearance? Like, my only worry would be putting him in. So if anyone could let me know whether he is going to keep his place, I might have to bring him in. Fernandez, he cracking 14 points, man of the match, goal, assist. Oh. He's in 19.1% of the top 1,000. And he's looking like he took the penalty as well. So if he's going to be on pens, I think he's a good one. I'll quickly go on to Arsenal. Martinelli for 9.4% of the top 1,000, didn't start, weren't even in the squads. Aubameyang, great game again. I'll never know what to expect from him, really, but 2 goals, tackle bonus, shots bonus, man of the match. And then Arsenal got West Ham next, so grief, 23% of the top 1,000 teams. I don't know enough. Saka, he's 5.2 million. Not the defensive midfielder, the other one. He was in 0.4% of the top 1,000 teams. He's now had 11 starts and 3 assists. very cheap at 5.2. Is he worth considering? Is Kolasinac, he came on for today. Does that now mean he's going to get a run in the team? Again, if someone could let me know whether he's going to be, likely to see quite a bit of game time, he might be worth having. And Nketiah as well. He started the last 2 league games for Arsenal and scored today. 6.6 million, really cheap. Again, what are people's thoughts on him? And I quickly the last 2. Richarlison, 9 points today was goal and shot bonus. He's in 40% of the top 1,000 teams.
Wow.
And Calvert-Lewin, again, 7.3% of the top 1,000 teams. 10 points today, goal, shot bonus. He just keeps delivering, a very good price as well.
Thank you, Dan. I think equally comprehensive roundups there, guys. We'll have to do that every week. I think that was really, really good. It's really interesting. So,
Need a beer now.
hi. So off the back of that, then, one of the questions we already had in the chat, and it's probably a question which a lot of people are asking themselves in readiness for Monday night, especially Aguero owners, is Salah versus Mane. So I've just checked their live ownership, and Salah is owned by 46% of players in the top 1k. Mane is owned. Can anyone guess? I don't know if you know, guys, if you've looked, but can anyone guess Mane's?
It's under 10, isn't it?
Paul, guess.
Yeah, I would have guessed 5%, just
So
based on injuries.
So it's 7%. So yeah, you're kind of halfway between you guys. So with Salah at 46 and Mane at 7, I think the answer is there, depending on position. Is my, I know it's a boring stock answer, but it depends what you're doing, or even the both of them. Their fixtures coming up now are really nice. So ownership aside, Dan, can I ask you first who you think would be the better option for the next few weeks, and specifically the captain tomorrow, Salah or Mane, and who are you going for?
Salah. I'll be on Salah. Going to keep the faith with him. Like I say, always debate whether to go Van Dijk or Salah, but I think West Ham, I think it's got to be Salah, although West Ham did just get they just didn't even try to do anything against Man City, did they? Just purely wanted to keep that score down, so that's a bit of a worry. Maybe I should just go for Van Dijk, but yeah, I think I'm going to go for Salah and hope for a couple of goals.
Is that because you think he's the better option, or is that because of your position?
I think, because I'm 226th, so I think if I, was playing safer for me to go with Salah and just sort of stick with the majority. Okay. Whereas, if I was a bit further down, I might think Mane to try to, make, if he does something that I can overtake people like me, going with a sort of safer pick.
Yeah. And how about you, Paul?
So, based on exactly what Dan said, I'm going for Mane.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same. So I'm the same as well. But I do think that if you look overall throughout the season, when Mane and Salah have both been on the pitch, to me, Mane has scored the more points. Only recently, since Mane has been in and out of the team, that Salah's looked good. Salah, has looked good. Milner is back as well, I think, which could dent Salah's appeal slightly. Because didn't Salah score a penalty against West Ham a few weeks ago in the reverse fixture? I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so if Milner's back, we know Milner is first choice. But to me, it's simple, really. Look at your overall rank, look at your season's objectives, look at your goals, and if you need to try and catch up, I would probably go for Mane. If you're looking at defending, I'd go for Salah. It's probably as simple as that in this game. Al asks in the chat, Van Dijk captain, West Ham look poor on set pieces. That's not a bad shout. I managed to captain Van Dijk. I don't know if you remember towards the end of last year. No, it was end of February it was, and Van Dijk scored two in I think it was a 5-0 win against Watford or something, and I actually captained in that day because I couldn't afford to get Salah in, and that was like a ridiculous, nearly 60-point haul or something. But Van Dijk is, he's certainly a good option. You'd think he'd be guaranteed for 10 points. If West Ham don't score, obviously. But any thoughts on Van Dijk? I know that the three of us tend to prefer to captain strikers, but Van Dijk, good option.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. Hornet FPL moved Jota in when he saw Troy was benched again. I wish I did it Hornet as well. This is the thing of not having many transfers left after the overhaul is every transfer is kind of like gold dust at the moment. So I thought about it. I just thought I didn't have Traore. I had Henderson. Where I was thinking, should I do Henderson to Jota? I thought, no, I've only got the 9 transfers. Wherever I've got, I was like, oh no, I'll save it for a captaincy, and it just ends up costing you. But
that'd have been ideal, wouldn't it, Henderson? Because they're pretty similar price, or maybe even the same price, aren't they? Like, there's not much in, but that would have been a perfect move. That, and so yeah, that was a bit of good fortune if you did that.
It would have been, and I think if I'd have had more transfers, I probably would have did it. But it's because I'm so, I had Jimenez, so I had the captain. I would never have captained Jota, in all fairness, over Jimenez. But yeah, I suppose that's one of the downfalls of not having many transfers there. So looking at emerging picks then that are coming out now for Sky, please feel free in the chat to put in for anyone who think is going under the radar a little bit. I've got a couple. We've chatted about a few of these already. I'm really surprised how low their ownership is. I don't know if you guys have looked at Jota's at all, but Jota is 6% owned overall and only 0.5% owned in the top 1k. So I suppose the thing for me, which I'm looking at there, Wolves do have a game next week. He's probably still an ideal shift on from Henderson, but I haven't missed the boat on Jota. He's only 0.5% owned, in those upper echelons. I talk as if my team is around there. It's not. It's around 6,000. But obviously you aim to be there. But only 0.5% owned is I still think he's a really good option. Dan, you touched on Bruno Fernandes at 10.1. He's only 2% owned overall, but as you mentioned, he's 19% overall in the top 1k. Doherty, you mentioned, he's 3% owned overall and only 1% owned in the top 1k. Bolly as well at 8 million. So ever since Bolly's been back in the side, I don't think they've conceded a goal. I think they've kept 3 clean sheets now out of 3. He's 3% owned and 1% owned in the top 1k. Is actually a midfielder, which I found out earlier. I was having a look. Obviously, he's a defender in Sky. He's a defender in FPL and did really well for everyone in FPL. But he's a 7 million midfielder in Sky, so probably not a great option there. Paul, have you got any more picks at all that you've been looking at?
Yeah, I think it was just the 2 that I kind of briefly touched on before. So Stuart Armstrong, and his last 5 starts, he's averaging almost 7 points start. Okay. He's at 7.4 million, which is kind of around the nice sort of value if you're looking to move on, either Traore or Martinelli. Obviously, as a little bit of an upgrade, or indeed Grealish. We know that he blanks next week as well. Another one's Dwight McNeil. So he's only he's not owned by anybody in the top 1,000. Wow. So he picked up 16 points there. 7.3 million, and there's a game week coming up where it's all the there'll be a lot of cancellations with the next round of the FA Cup, and Burnley's game's guaranteed to be on, so we would offer a captaincy option on that day as well.
That's a really good shout. Thanks for that. Yeah, Dan, is there anyone else you've got your eye on, or have we exhausted them at the moment?
Yeah, I think we talked about most, like Jota as the main ones sort of come to light really, and. Yeah, that's it really. I just need to sort of gather myself after the weekend, really, and try to think of a plan going forward. So, yeah, no one else really I've thought of at the moment.
Okay, then. So, let's just look at a few questions then before we move on to our transfer and captain plans. We've just had a few now in the live chat. Question off Marius Ionita. Any possibility that Liverpool will rotate tomorrow night? I personally don't think so. I think they just want to get this league completely and utterly wrapped up. Any other thoughts there, guys? Anyone think they might rotate?
No, I don't think so. They don't play the Champions League, the second leg, till after the Bournemouth game, do they? I think that's right. So I think I'm right in saying they got 3 Premier League games before they play Madrid again. I might be wrong, but I wouldn't have thought so this week. Certainly not. Maybe something to look out for before they play the next Champions League game. But
and we get to see the lineups anyway, don't we? So
that's true. Yeah.
Team sheets. Yeah. Lee Giles, I'm 93 points off top. Is that Bit of a humble brag there, Lee, but very good indeed. Very impressive. Any advice on whether to take risks to try and win, or if the gap is too big already, and try and stay in the money on my cash leagues? I suppose, Lee, it depends how many transfers you've got. Dan, Dan and Paul, you're probably the better people to go, since Dan has finished first and Paul has finished fourth in the past. So 93 points off top. What would your advice to Lee be?
Do you want to go, Paul, or you can go first?
Yeah, I'll talk and then you can trump me with whatever you're going to say afterwards. I personally would play it safe with the captains and perhaps the players on the peripheral. So maybe like the 9th, 10th, 11th squad player, like people like Dwight McNeil that you could potentially fill in with those spots. That's where I'd be looking for the differentials, as opposed to the captain option says.
Nice advice there, Dan.
Yeah, if he's got a good amount of transfers, I meant to print them actually, but like you've seen the average transfer stats that Sky print out. So if you're still above that and you can, like, you're above the top 10, I wouldn't really sort of worry about them. Just keep playing your game you are playing. Like, I wouldn't be taking risks now, but just keep going and then just see, if it's coming to a few weeks before. I just don't know how many transfers he's got. He'll know what's right to do, sort of thing. But I think play it safe. And, play it safe, keep trying to climb and see where we are. Oh, hang on. Oh, he's in a few cash leagues with me. No, take some risks, mate.
That's what Paul McAnulty just said as well. He said, at Lee Giles, take loads of risks, use those transfers up.
Take some risks, mate. Pukki, get him back in.
Yeah, so I think the advice there, Lee, from two former, top 5 winners, is to play it safe with the captaincy, maybe take a few risks around the edges of your team, and hopefully climb and strike. But Lee's, like, I know I'm in lots of different leagues with Lee. He plays all the games, TFF and Sun Dream Team and everything. He's a really, really good player across the board, so he should be telling us really. But yeah, question from our very own Ian Parrin. So for the 2-0 between Liverpool's fixtures on Saturday, March 7th and Monday, March 16th, who are the best players or teams to bring in for us? There's a few matches to be interested in your thoughts on this. So there's Chelsea, Everton. No, hang on. I might need you to rewrite this out, mate. Actually, sorry. I'm not. Chelsea, Everton.
No, but
what's that?
Man City, Leicester. Man City and Leicester have got 2 in that time. Okay. Yeah, Chelsea. Quite a lot of teams, haven't they? It's just really what you need captain-wise for those days. Like on the 8th, I think it's a bit of a tricky day.
I think we've lost.
There's some talk about the Man City Arsenal game getting rearranged into that midweek as well. So Man City would up for a 3-0.
Okay. Apologies, Ian. I can't really read your question there properly with all the teams. If you just write them out again, we'll move back onto that one. No problem. Lee Giles says, "Thanks, boys. I think," which is good. Let's move on then to a couple of the Twitter questions. Then let's just have a quick. Apologies, guys. I'm a bit all over the shop today. As you can see, I'm up in the attic, and I've had to move a few things around. We've got some confessions, which is good. Right, he is Ian. So Chelsea v. I'm still not getting it, Ian. Chelsea v Everton or Villa. I'm not getting it. Sorry, mate. You'll have to explain it a bit better. I do apologise. I don't know if you guys can make out what
yeah. So I think.
Oh, it's the extra games. Extra games, is it?
Yeah. So Liverpool play on the Saturday, the 7th of March. And then don't play again until the 16th of March.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that have got 2 games in that period of time.
Right, so he's asking then, who are the best picks for Chelsea versus Everton and Villa? I wouldn't say Barkley, even though he performed yesterday, and Abraham seems to have lost his spot. The best player, I think, from Chelsea at the moment, even though they're not really keeping clean sheets, is probably Reece James, I would guess. Can either of you raise me on Reece James?
Yeah. I like Reece James. I just don't see that as a 2-for-nothing move though.
Yeah,
If I was
agree
getting
with
Reece
that.
James,
Yeah.
if I was getting Reece James in, it would probably be as part of a reshuffle, I think.
Okay. And Leicester versus Aston Villa and Watford. So does anyone jump out from Leicester at the moment? I noticed Harvey Barnes was benched yesterday, quite surprisingly benched. I think when he came on, he played really well by the sound of it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Anyone from Leicester for that, for those extra fixtures or not?
I think their match with Arsenal has a potential to get rearranged for the midweek in between as well. So
Yeah.
Man City would have 3 games in between. I guess just the usual suspects. De Bruyne it'd probably be a really good time to get De Bruyne back in, because you think that he's most likely to start at least 2 of the 3 games.
Sure. Okay. And the last one then is Man United versus Man City and Tottenham. So I think we've all met. I think we've already mentioned Bruno Fernandes, which Marius Ionita has just asked. We think Fernandes is a really good pick, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Question from Lee Williams on Twitter: how many transfers should we be looking to have for the final set of fixtures, game week 39, 40, and 41? So the last 3 games. Any advice there, chaps, on how many we should be holding back for those final the couple of weekends?
Well, the last day of the season, all the games kick off at the same time, don't they? So I've always planned to have one left for the final day in case there's any madness. And, you can see if someone's, if you ain't got a full 11 playing, you can make a move to bring someone in. But I've never ever managed it in the last 4 seasons. So I don't know. I 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah.
But depends. It really depends.
Okay. Question from Hornet: Wolves assets look essential for March and April. Who are the best assets? Jota and Traore, great value. Is Jimenez the most nailed? So I think Hornet probably asked this prior to today's games. Traore probably not too good at the moment. Seems to have actually lost his place at the moment. They seem to have reverted back to the formation that they used a lot last year, didn't they? Jota obviously 8.3, and with with the fixtures, low ownership as well. Jimenez, I think he was still a bit unlucky today. He was unlucky last week as well. Any more thoughts on Wolves? I know we've mentioned a few. Who would be your prize Wolves asset at the moment moving forward?
I'd probably just go for those 2, Jimenez or Jota. Yeah, the defenders are good shouts as well, but I'm not looking at them really. Just be Jimenez and Jota.
Were you, Paul, any different or?
It would just be the same for me as well, I think.
Okay, there we go. We've had a confessional in from Hornet. I have thought about buying an E17 coat and sitting in my garage recording a pod. Not sure who he's aiming that at, Dan, at all, but anyone who is watching us live, that is exactly what Dan is doing. He looks like Brian Harvey. Question from Andrew Lee.
What he wants to get up to in his own time's up to him, mate.
That's it. And there was a question from Wandaka to Venice. Has at Sky Podcast, so he's referred to Mark Edwards there, retired from Sky FF? Mark came back with, no, I have not. Absolutely not. Mark is still very much playing. He's very active in our WhatsApp groups as well. So I think all the guys on the chat are playing it really big for Fernandes and Ollie Poole. Brought him in a while ago, so he's all well done for that, Ollie. Really good stuff. A question from Andrew Lee talks about Wolves. Is it time to consider putting some Wolves defenders in now? And he also, again, I'm not sure if this is pre or post the match. Is Jota now a consideration? This was after, actually. Or is just going through a pill patch at the moment. So from memory, Jota seems to be a bit like Van Aanholt. They seem to save their best performances for the last quarter of the season. Any thoughts on Jota, guys? Whether he is a bit of a flash in the pan or whether he is a definite one going forward? I think his price means that he definitely is worth the risk. Paul, what are your thoughts on Jota? Is he one to bring in now?
Yeah, I think for me it would be whether I was going to captain him or not, and I think a lot of people will be on Jimenez already.
Yeah.
I was mentioning that weekend where there's rearranged the fixtures for the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I know Delafeu's around about the same price as well, and I know that Watford played that week as well. So I don't know. Congratulations for those that brought him in today, but I just don't. It won't be part of my future plans.
Okay. We are shifting on for time. I didn't realise we've been talking for ages. Really interesting stuff and really good points, but we are moving on a bit. So we're just going to move on now to our new one, which is the confessionals. Dan, I don't know if you've managed to grab any of the confessionals out of the chat. I got one from Ollie Poole. Brought in Jota today on an absolute impulse punt and panicked as messed up for the Buzzers to get KDB back in, but worked out well and can now lose Martinelli for Vardy. #luck. Ollie, what a move that is. Well done there. Dan, have you got any of the confessionals in front of you?
Yeah, I got one from our brother Dale. So he sent in his confession last Sunday. He was watching the game, the Arsenal one. He was getting ready for it, teams lining up and whatever. He brought in Aubameyang and made him captain. Although he forgot that he was watching it on his legal stream. He's got Sky Go. He was watching it on his laptop, and he forgot that there was about a 3-minute time delay. So he'd actually brought him in after the deadline. So he's lost out on the 9 points there for the goal. But that was his. I got a confession that I need to, I need you to hear.
Is it fantasy related, Dan?
Yeah, Christ.
Oh yeah, well, I can't go into the other one for legal reasons, mate. Because there's still a pending court and work tribunal case. So we talked about it last week. So yeah, I didn't have De Bruyne in midweek, so that was confess that like that. That's all I want to say about that one. And I got another confession, and I just don't know how I'm at this point. I've still got Martinelli in my side.
Same.
I don't know what I'm doing. Please forgive me. I was going to take him out for Sarr today, but Sarr didn't start. So I'm like, oh. So, I've still got Martinelli. So that's my confession. And, I need your blessings.
I've got one as well. So I was so after listening to everyone suggest that Aguero would be benched yesterday, I wanted to take a punt because if he started, thought there'd be a good chance. Aguero's always got a high ceiling for returns. So it was when the Man City team sheet came out at 4:30 yesterday, and Ings was still blanking, knowing that a lot of my friends had captained Ings. I was very, very close to going on the WhatsApp group chat and giving it big licks from when they seen Aguero start, and I'm obviously now so glad I didn't because for obvious reasons.
Brilliant, I like that. There were confessions also from Paul, so at Sky Player in FPL, and Hornet, no KDB too. So you are all forgiven. So every week, guys, get in your well. I've still got Jordan Henderson and Martinelli in my team, and my confession is I don't know what the hell to do with my team at the moment. I'm pretty lost with it. So I'm going to listen back to this podcast, look at the chat, and try and really sort out my team because it's just in free fall at the moment. And my other one, for those who can see, I've been booted up to the attic, and I've bought this new fancy HD cam, which has added 10 years to me as well. That's another thing which I'm not too impressed. I think I used to look reasonably young, but this actually shows me now in my full glory. So I'm not too happy about that. As soon as I turned it on, I was like, oh my god. So but yeah, it is. And Dan's weekly rant. So our final feature of the week, Dan's rant. Dan, what are you not happy with this week?
Do you know, I've got 3 things, so I'll keep them quick, right? The VAR, right? That's just a joke, innit? Like the decision, what we're talking about, like the decisions yesterday, like the Spurs play, like, come on, that's just terrible, innit? So that's VAR, obviously. The Brit Awards, right? Did anyone watch that on Tuesday? Do you watch that?
I watched it, yeah.
Mate, if that is what music and fashion is like, I'm glad I'm nearly 40 because I want no part of what is going on at the minute. That was do you see what Harry Styles was wearing, like a women's 19th century bedroom? Like, what? I just don't get it, mate. So I'm worried about the younger generation. Like, I'm worried. And we have a rant. This is what really annoys me when I go fill my car with petrol. Why are people doing like a weekly food shop in the at the petrol station for? Get the Tesco's, trying to get the petrol in the morning, and someone's like buying milk and bread and stuff. Like, do that at Tesco's. Petrol stations, you can buy a chocolate bar or a tin of drink as you're queuing up in the thing to pay. No weekly shop. Come on, sort it out.
Thanks for that, Dan. I can see he's absolutely livid, and rightly so. If people are doing their shop money, I completely agree with that.
And I'll talk. And something else, right?
And
my local Tesco's has banned a cat. It's barred. And we ain't got time for it now, but I'll put the link up on my Twitter. My Tesco's where I live. Actually, I shouldn't tell people where I live. They have barred a cat. Unbelievable, isn't it?
I think everyone knows you live in Norwich, but yeah, I keep it as far as like I'm after you for your advice. Okay, so that's it from us from this week, chaps. Thank you so much to everyone who has who's watching, who has listened in. It's been absolutely great to have on so many active Twitter members, some really good players, really good advice going back and forth there as well. Thank you so much for that. Apologies, I'm not sure if the signal was dipping in and out, so I'm still trying to work out my internet up in the attic, so apologies for that. Try and get that fixed in ready for next week. Dan, where can people find you on Twitter? I think most of the people who are watching know. How about those who are listening, Dan? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so Twitter, Dan Cox 82, and I'll do my weekly article on Fantasy Football Hub each Friday at 1 o'clock.
Okay, and how about yourself, Paul?
Paul McAnulty 1 on Twitter.
Okay, thank you so much. So this podcast and video will be on the new Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and is also available in all major podcast libraries, including iTunes, SoundCloud and Spotify. On the YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to alerts as well, so you do pick things up when we go live. If you like what you hear or see, please like, share, subscribe and retweet. It all helps us get the word out, and make sure you don't miss anything. All comments and feedback are very welcome. Our Twitter handle is at FFH_HQ, and our Sky Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky. So please follow and feel free to ask any questions at any time. Sorry guys, I'm only laughing because everyone's talking about the cat on the chat now. Dan, you've started off a bit of a monster there.
I've tweeted it out to the Fantasy Football Hub Sky chat. There's an article in the Standard there.
Excellent.
He's annoying though, because he'd be in the bagging area. You're trying to bag your groceries up, and he's there, and it's like unexpected to buy him in a bagging area. It's like, yeah, it's a cat, like
swine.
Yeah, feline.
Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football, all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta-stats, team reveals, and much, much more, which can be used for both Sky and FPL. Also on the website, specifically for Dan reveals his transfers, captains and general thoughts at 1 PM every Friday, exclusively to Fantasy Football Hub members. Paul also writes a brilliant weekly article on the 5 burning questions of the week, which I think you want to get started up again, Paul. I think, don't you, when you get a bit more time. Both essential reads if you're a serious Sky player. I also write my weekly format diary article, which includes my Sky team transfers, captains and progress, but don't follow me at the moment. I'm an absolute stinker. Dan is also very active in our Sky WhatsApp chat group, along with other great Sky players, including Mark Edworthy and a lot of the guys who are here in the chat this evening. And this is also available to premium Hub members. Some of the guys in the group are absolutely smashing it this season, with a few in the top 50 overall. If you fancy a 7-day Hub membership trial, just go onto the website and sign up for free. I'm sure everyone knows, but the Planet FPL guys also do a brilliant Sky podcast every Wednesday. Make sure you tune into them. And finally, don't forget our FPL podcast will be live tomorrow. That's Monday evening at 8 PM with myself, Andy Green and FPL Fairy tomorrow, with FPL Saturday Live back next Saturday at 10 to 3 with myself and Adam Hopcroft, talking you through the 3 PM Premier League action as it happens from an FPL perspective. So come and join us there. Our FPL link is in the description below. In the meantime, we hope you have a great Sky Game Week 29, and we bid you thank you and good night. Good night, everyone.